Hi, and welcome to Origin of Concepts. In this episode, we will follow the path of Moses and his Exodus, and explore all the mythological places firsthand. Today's video will be longer than usual, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because this will be a big journey for those who is invited in the Exodus. Okay. Moses is a fictional character appearing in the Old Testament. In the biblical narrative, Moses is portrayed as God's chosen prophet. According to common interpretation, Moses led the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt, received the stone tablets from God at Mount Sinai, and guided the Israelites towards the promised land. Moses is widely regarded as the most important prophet in Judaism. And I will start this journey with a famous Bible verse. And this is from Exodus 22 or 20/2. It says, and now you have to listen very carefully. I am the Lord, your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Very important, the word bondage. Because the original Bible text, bondage, has fatally been misinterpreted as slavery, creating a false narrative who established a fatal, literal and historical misunderstanding of the message in the Exodus Bible myth. So this is one of the main phrases who have twisted, wisdom into literary history. And, well, it happens before, many times before. But this is have a special meaning. Okay, I won't dwell on history, but the Exodus never occurred in reality, and no Israelites have ever been enslaved in Egypt, nor exiled as slaves in Babylon. Yeah, never. The Exodus is a poetic journey from the bondage of illusions in the human mind and feelings to obtain true wisdom. The journey to spirit, if you like. The good old ancient story, copied and repeated once again in the Bible texts, because the Exodus is not the first story of this kind. It basically exists in most of the world myths, and the Old Testament wasn't the first. Okay, let me see here before we start. Yeah, in a moment I will explain exactly why the word bondage is so important. And it's no secret that Moses' entire journey can be found in the Milky Way Center. So let's go to the Milky Way Center. Just give me a second here. And here we got. Okay. I will start out with the Exodus 20/2 and get that out of the way so you know what the entire Exodus is about. Exodus 22, I'll read it again. I am the Lord, your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Okay, let's look at this, because It's here in the Milky Way. I'll get my pen here. Let's start with the house of bondage, because this is the house. This is always the house. And here you got Egypt, and here you got the bondage. And beside of Egypt, you always got the island. And the bondage is that of the striped shadow, which is also the mummy, the dead person, or illusional mind, from which all humans must be liberated to obtain wisdom. And now comes the funny part. Let me get another color here. Because the house of bondage is also the Pharaoh. The word Pharaoh means the great house. The bandage of the mummy. Copycat from ancient Egypt. So what you see here is the mummy. And now we travel from the dead body into the head, so to speak. So this is what the Exodus is all about. Get out of the dead body, and get into the spirit. Or get out of your illusional mind and obtain wisdom. So, let's start from the beginning at Moses' birth. I will delete my board here. And then we read some key features of the Bible texts. When Moses is born, he is placed in a reed basket sealed with tar, or some black stuff, glue. Then he is set out among the reeds on the bank of the Nile River. Great. As usual, when we speak about characters in the myths, they are never displayed, as persons or full figures. They are all aspects of the Milky Way center. And Moses is here in his basket. The striped shadow here is his basket here. Hello, little baby Moses. And let me see here. And the basket is placed in the reeds along the Nile River. And this is the Nile River. Here is the Nile Delta. And the black shadow or the stripes are the reeds, or the field of reeds along the Nile River in the sky. So here you got baby Moses among the reeds in the Nile River. Okay, let's move on. When Moses had grown up, he was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, who named him Moses. Because I have drawn him out of the water, she says. Okay. So, now we know that the Pharaoh is the great house, or the mummy. And of course his daughter is the female shade here to the right of the disc. And I won't go deeper into that. You can go see that in my Milky Way introduction video, where I explain the male and female aspects of the Milky Way. So here we got the Pharaoh's daughter. And of course she draws Moses up from the water, because this is the water and Moses is in the water, and she draw him out of the water. So, end of that chat. Let's move on to the next text. It's Exodus 3/2. The angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in a blazing fire from a bush. Moses saw that the bush was burning with fire, but was not consumed by the fire. Okay, let's take a look at that. First of all, the angel is always this kneeling black shadow here. I'll go into that in another video regarding angels, but that's the angel. And then we got the famous part about the burning bush. And now I'll show you the burning bush. So let's take the orange color. Because the blazing bush is, of course, the striped shadow here. This is the burning bush. Because the light from the disk is running through the shadow, the striped shadow. So it looks like the bush is burning, but it's not consumed by the flames. So here you got the burning bush. Let's go on. The next text. God will rescue them from the hands of Egypt, and Moses will lead his people out of Egypt to a good and spacious land flowing with milk and honey, the promised land. Aha. So let's find this, because first of all, God's hand, I have to be careful, I have to explain it exactly as it's written, so I have to find the text here. God will rescue them from the hands of Egypt. The hands of Egypt. We already know that this is Egypt. And then we got the hands of Egypt, which is here. This is the hands of Egypt. And this, you will also find info about this in my video about the 18 disc, where the hands is sit on the race of the 18 disc. So this is the hands of Egypt. And then Egypt, let me draw it again. Here we got Egypt, the striped shadow. Egypt is the black soil in the form of the black shadow. So this is the black soil along the river Nile in the sky. And then the most important is coming now, because the land flowing with milk and honey is, of course, the disc. Here, the honey. And above it, we got the milk, which is this whitish part of the Milky Way. So here you got the land of milk and honey. This is the promised land. Now it's off on the land. The promised land of milk and honey is the center of the Milky Way. The spirit. Okay, let's move on. The Lord tells Moses to throw his staff on the ground and it becomes a serpent. Okay. If you have seen some of my previous videos, you will know that the shepherd hook or staff is this area of the Milky Way. And when Moses is throwing it to the ground, it becomes a serpent, because the striped shadow represent the serpents in all world myths, inclusive the Old Testament. And that's because inside the striped shadow you can actually see the serpent here, the cobra. And there's a lot of other serpents. There's 7 serpents total, but this is the serpent coiling up the tree. So this is the staff turned into a serpent. And what else do we come here? We have I think I mixed something here, but I'll fix that in just a second. Yeah, here comes another good one. The Lord tells Moses to put his hand into his chest or under his robe, after which it becomes leprous and ashen. And again, let me draw the hand of Moses. The hand of Moses is here. But when he put it into his chest, it looks like this. So his hand is getting like, and note the color of the shadow, because this is the ash gray or silvery colored shadow. And this is his cloak, and this is his chest with his heart, of course. So here you got that story. Let's jump to... Oh, excuse me for a moment, I need some water. Sometimes religion get a little dry. Exodus 4/6. The Lord said to Moses... Oh, sorry. We just got that. Moses takes water from the Nile and pours it out on the ground. The water becomes blood on the ground. Okay, let's take a look at that. Because we know that this is the... Oh. We know that this is the Nile. And when Moses takes the water, this is from the Nile, and put it on the ground, which is the black shadow here, then it becomes bloody. The red light from the disk in the Milky Way center running through the black soil of Egypt on the ground, so to speak. So the disc light in the striped shadow is the blood on the ground. And again, Moses strikes the water in the Nile with his staff, and it turns into blood. And here we got Moses' staff, and here we got the Nile River, and we got the blood once again. Same story, just a little different. Great. And the next is, the Lord went before Moses to lead him on the right path, by day in a pillar of cloud, and by night in a pillar of fire. The two pillars is the shadows on either side of the disc. The pillar of cloud is a shadow to the right, and the pillar of fire is the shadow to the left of the disc. So here we got it could also be the striped shadow, but let's keep it to its origin, which I'll tell in a moment. Here we got the cloudy, and here we got the fire cloud. Because this is a direct copycat of the pillars of Heracles from Greek mythology. You know, this is the bronze pillar, and this is the silver pillar. The two pillars of Heracles. So they got a little inspiration from that story. You know, the two pillars, when you go between the pillars, you can't go further in the mortal realm because you reach the spirit. The rest is in your mind. The border of mortal land. Okay, next. The Egyptians pursued them with all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, his horsemen and his army. So now Moses and the Israelites is chased by the Pharaoh's men. And the striped shadow here represents the horses and the men and the army chasing the Israelites. And this is the black shadow, the striped shadow here, is very famous for representing, crowds and crowds of people or bystanders and every sorts of chariots and animal pulling chariots and stuff like that. So now you know. And the next is Moses raises his hand over the sea, and a desert storm from the east divides the water and creates dry land. This is the very famous story of, I think it's most famous of all of them, which you can see in the picture down here, representing Moses split the waters. And of course, it can also be found in the Milky Way. So let's take a look at it. Moses raises his hand over the sea. Let me show you the sea. This is the sea, always. And Moses raising his hand over the sea. Here you got Moses' hands. Maybe he got fingernails. I don't know. Like this. And maybe a watch. Oh well. Now you know where Moses' hand, uh, over the sea is. And let me draw the... No, I think I'll keep it, actually. We remove the what's and the nails. And then a desert storm comes from the east. And of course, the desert storm is the red light in the Milky Way center emerging from the disk. So if we take it away for a second, you see it looks like a storm coming from the... I'll delete it. A storm coming from the east. Or it could be this way. Doesn't matter. It's a storm. And it's yellow of sand because of the disk light. And then what happens? The water divides and creates dry land. The water that divides into two high walls is the two shadows on either side of the disk. So here we got the two raising waves. And here we got the passage of dry land, or the path, the striped shadow, which is also a copycat from the narrow strait of Gibraltar in Greek mythology. The narrow strait leading into the Atlantic Ocean. And of course, it spread the Red Sea. And the Red Sea is, of course, the red light in the Milky Way center emerging from the disk. So what you see here in the Milky Way center is the split of the sea and the pathway into the center, into the spirit. So now you know that. Let's move on. Moses and his people arrive in the Sinai desert, where they camp. Okay. The Sinai desert is, of course, the disk, the desert with the glowing light down the striped shadow. And the tent camp is the striped shadow, because this is all the tents in the camp here. I'll move it. This is the tents here, you know. So now we know where to find the Sinai desert. It's not in Egypt or the countries. It's not in the, where we think it are. This desert down there, the physical desert, is very likely named after the Milky Way center. Okay. Moses goes up Mount Sinai. And of course, Mount Sinai is the mountain in the Milky Way. This is the mountain in basically every single myth in the world. So the Old Testament and Moses is not the first being there. And when we go to the next text, it says, Moses is told to tell the people how the Lord carried them out of Egypt as on eagle's wings. Okay. So now we also got the eagle into the play. And I will try to show you here. I'm not that good at drawing eagles. The eagle is the grayish shadow right to the disc, and the eagle wing is the striped shadow. And this is a direct copycat from the Horus falcon in ancient Egypt. And let me show you where the eagle is. We got the eagle here with his peak and his eyes, and here is the chest. And then it got its wing out here. So there you got the eagle. The eagle in every single myth worldwide. If you hear about an eagle, it's there because you can see it in the shadows of the Milky Way. It's one of the most easy animals to recognize when you look up there. So here you got the eagle and the eagle wing. And of course, the Israelites is visualized by the striped shadows, the stripes in the striped shadow. This is the bunch of Israelites on the eagle wing, on their way to the higher spirit. Okay, let's move on. When the long note of the ram's horn sounds, you must go up the mountain. This is also a very famous phrase, blowing the ram's horn. And now I'll show you exactly where the ram's horn is. I just have to follow my notes here so I know where I reached. The ram's horn is the striped shadow that emanates from the disc. And the striped shadow is also the long note. And the ram's horn, of course, is sitting on the head of the ram. So now I'll draw the ram. Here is the ram's horn. And here you got the outline of the ram. And its eye here. So here you got the ram. Very, very famous Egypt icon. And that's the origin of everything about ram's horn. And then this is the striped shadow, is the manifesting sound from the horn. And it's also related to trumpet sound, because the Milky Way center is also a trumpet. It will come further down the text. But this is the long note. Next text says, Mount Sinai was enveloped in fire and smoke, which rose up like the smoke from a furnace, an oven. The whole mountain trembled with great fear and trumpet sounds. That was. Okay, so I'll find the right color here. This is, of course, Mount Sinai. And as you can see with your own eyes, it looks like it's enveloped in fire and smoke, and even earthquakes, and, it's rumbling and tumbling, and one big disastrous and dangerous mountain. And what else do I got? Yeah, it's basically the chaos in the Milky Way center. So that's the mountain Moses climbed. And next, and this is, I think, one of the most sought after myths, but we will see. Because since Moses has not come down from the mountain, the people ask Aaron to make an idol that can show them the way. Aaron collects the people's gold earrings and throws them into the fire. And out of the flames comes a golden calf, or a calf. The golden calf. Yeah, let's find it. But before we find the golden calf, let's find the ear and the earrings and the fire with the earrings. Because the entire Milky Way center, is the big ear. And this is the hole in the ear, and then you got the earrings here. And this is basically also all the collected earrings, which is put into the big fire in the center of the Milky Way. And to pin it out, we could say that this is the wood for the fire, and then we got the fire here. And of course the fire will go down into the striped shadow, the spirit fire. So now we know where Aaron finds the gold and how he melted. And now we want the result, the golden calf. Should I make it in orange? Yes. Because, no, I'll just draw it and then you'll find out. Just let me, here, there. Okay, let me see how good I am to this. Here. I can't remember how it does with its front legs, but I think it's something like that. And here we got that. Something like that. And then we got the stomach here. And the heel tip. And of course the eye. And inside the golden calf, we got the shining golden disc. So here, my friends, for the first time in 2,000 years, we refound the golden calf, a calf. Here it is, and this bull or calf is all the bulls in every single myth in the entire world. So if you hear anything about a bull, this is the bull of heaven, the golden calf. And the golden calf is not the first bull. It's like the 10th or 15th copycat from the ancient world in the Old Testament. And I'll put it on and off. So you can enjoy the golden calf. Okay, time is running. it's gone. And we go to the next feature here. Moses comes down from the mountain with the tablets of the Ten Commandments. The the tablets of the Ten Commandments are the striped shadow, the word of God carved on stone tablets. And this is also a copycat, because this is this is basically the stone tablets with the writings. And some claims that the tablets were blue or bluish, and that's of course because the upper part here of the Milky Way is like the azure blue color, the blue sea, the water, or the blue color. All the blue colors in the midst is this area. So simply is that. So here you got the tablet of Moses. And let me see here. And when he comes down, wait, the world is not dead, man. Yeah, I could put it in here, because when he comes down the mountain, he smashed the tablets. And this is, of course, the striped shadow here. It's the smashed tablets in 1,000 pieces. But the first tablets was written by God's finger. And that's a very exciting story too. But I think it comes here. The first tablets were made with the finger of God. And of course, this story originates, or is a copycat from Greek Hippocrates, the horus child, with put his finger like this, put his finger to the mouth. So of course, God's finger is the striped shadow, which scratches the inscriptions on the stone tablets, or I think on the second tablets it was Moses chiseling them. So, but now you know where to find God's finger. And I'll make a new video about the Hippocrates, or the horus child, where I'll explain exactly what this means with the finger up there. Okay, and let's take one more just for the Queen, if you believe in such things. When Moses saw the people dancing around the golden calf, he became furious and smashed the tablets to the ground at the foot of Mount Sinai. Yeah, of course. This is the mount, and the tablets smashed on the foot of the mountain. So there, you got it. But we also got some dancing people. And of course, the dancing people is the striped shadow. All the people, the crowds is dancing. Yeah. Because now they have the golden calf. So that's basically it. I think, this is my main list. There's a lot more. I actually got some extra features. I can draw them for you quickly. So this video will not be too long. But it's important, because this is one of the most famous Bible myths. So let's do it. The Holy Tent, the Tabernacle, is also the Milky Way center. And basically this is the tabernacle here. This is the tent. We could put some plugs here and here. So here you got the tabernacle. It's where they get it from. And then Moses erect 12 stone pillars at the foot of the Sinai mountain, which is of course the stripes in the stripe shadow. In some myths there's 12, but most commonly is like 7 or 8 or 6. It depends on the myth, but it's symbolic, so don't be too literal about the amount, because it's them. And of course, the Israelites is of course also the black stripes in the stripe shadow. The horde of people, or the crowd of people. And then of course, the last thing is they make an altar at the foot of Mount Sinai for the sacrifice. And this altar is, of course, we will start making the fire. The disc light. And here, of course, we got the altar. And here's all the people in front of the altar. So here you got the sacrificial fire on the altar and on the foot of the Sinai mountain. I think that will end here because we could go on and on like this throughout the entire Old and New Testament, building on the same image at the center of the Milky Way. So, but now you should have a little understanding of where all the ideas originate at. Well, I attempt to say, let us build the Abrahamic religions in this image. Then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, now you know where to find the real promised land. It's rather in your head than any physical place on this Mother Earth. It's up here. It's all up here. So don't fight for countries that doesn't exist. Okay, if you like my videos, give a thumbs up. If not, well, tell me to go back to Egypt. And by the way, if you got any questions, feel free to drop a line or comment below, and I'll do my best to answer or give you the best answer I can. So until the next video, take care. See ya. Bye.